Dick, Brady, created this whole motion and energy, bringing in all these victims, and, even at this huge risk to him and Anderson, now there's a growing number of brave New Yorkers willing to stick their toe out and take on the corruption head on. And a lot of them are coming from the inside out, like Corrado's next, I believe. There's been information in Frank's blog that Corrado was going to come out with a story that's, equally riveting to Anderson's of the corruption within that Supreme Court. So, Dick, Frank's a superhero in my book, along possibly with Scheindlin if she pans out to be a good federal judge. And, he should be the next governor of New York, or the Attorney General, or the, even a U.S. Department of Justice Attorney General. Because, integrity like this and risk-taking to ferret out corruption at this level is impossible to find these days, and it's usually so easily bought out. And, so far Frank hasn't sold anybody out for the almighty buck yet. And, I'm sure it's destroyed his life. As you'll see in a little bit, as some of his story unfolds here, which is truly mind-boggling. But Dick, these are, and Brady's also a former member of the Supreme Court. He worked there with Anderson. I'm not sure if they worked together or at different time periods. But, again, a solid guy, loves the Constitution, patriotic. These are all true American patriots. These guys don't need, and women, don't need lapel pins to show on their chests that they're patriotic, which to me doesn't seem very patriotic, unless it's 4 stars you're wearing up there and they were earned in battle, lapel pins that went out in 1902, I think. But these are real heroes, Dick, who don't paste it on, who believe in our country and are ready to die for our country. And like all patriotic Americans, who are duty-bound by the Constitution to protect freedom for everyone when their government fails. Meaning the Constitution, in fact, gives you the right to form militias, bear arms, and all those hostile things. Now, I believe in passive takeover, like RICO and recover, and then put them in prison. Of course, if the death penalty for things like treason is proven, then putting them to death is legal, I guess. And they should be put to death for treason, or life sentences would be more preferable under my method. But you can see that the Constitution's framers knew that the government could corrupt and start feeding itself at the expense of the people. And so they put in protections for the people to mount up and rise, throw an anarchy fest. The kids need to get together in the parks and relive the 60s and protest their parents' ways and their bogus wars and their crappy courts and their shitty jobs and their bogus mortgages, and, start burning your mortgages in the park at a fest. And screw them. That needs to start now. It's the citizens' rights when people have alerted you and the facts are on the table and the evidence is out. It really now becomes, we'll slip deeper unless the people are mounted to take on their government, regain their freedoms, and throw out the rascals, as somebody once said. These patriots are all about getting their rights back first. But after a while, it's not about their rights. They're protecting other people's, like Suzanne said. She's protecting other elderly people. Giselle is protecting other elderly people from becoming victims of these things. They're trying at the same time to tear down the wall of corruption. Now there's a united voice, whereas before and for many years, people like Suzanne were a singular voice with no people hadn't started tentacling together yet in mass, and they really truly haven't perfected their crimes to the numbers they're doing today, where now they're affecting millions of people using these schemes, and you're seeing it all over the place. But before it was one off a state or two off a state, and they had one fight on their hand. Now they, on these mortgage frauds and derivatives frauds and economic saboteuring, which is all in violation of a whole host of felony laws, they got real problems. And they're going to have real problems holding this off in the court any longer. And that's because these true patriotic heroes have risked it all to wake you up and your viewers and wake up America that we're under siege in a very large way by domestic terrorists who've seized the three branches of government and crippled them from doing their jobs. And that's what Anderson's showing you. A few phone calls, they block justice in a matter of minutes on any case they want, and they can destroy those people's lives who try to speak up against them. So this is domestic terrorism. And these heroes, all of them, their lives have been affected from the moment they came in contact with these, quote, favored lawyers and law firms or DAs or New York attorney generals or whichever of the accusers you come in contact with. And Anderson and Corrado both show from an insider perspective how horrifying the consequences are to those from the inside trying to break it out and say what's going on at the top is wrong. This becomes really a deadly game. And finally, there's a new hero, Crystal Cox. She's an investigative blogger, Dick. And imagine that, somebody puts the word investigative before their name in the reporting world, kind of like what you're doing, somebody who's, looking into these stories and getting their hands around the evidence and then, letting the stories come forward instead of, reading a script that Rupert Murdoch and his Saudi partner write for the average American viewer to be brainwashed by. And so she's a reporter who actually investigates versus just lip syncs. And she angelically fell out of the sky in the last year or so to write about all these stories and bring light to all of these victim stories. And her exposure's a real breath of fresh air to see investigative journalism again, based on facts and showing how the criminal enterprise operates, not fearing what the network head's going to say or when he's going to cut your feet if you say anything off the script, like these idiots on like Morning Joe, Mika and blah, bobbleheads laughing and filling your head with nonsense chatter while they read scripts that I think Zbigniew Brzezinski and the CFR write for them. Like Fox, whose scripts are written by the CIA and CFR and Zbigniew Brzezinski and the likes. But anyways, in a world of news propaganda read by these